So what's the new iPhone that's coming out?
The iPhone 20. It goes ahead and takes your cutest selfie and posts it in all the best filters.
God damn it.
Because that's what people want. Better selfies.
So are you any familiar with the new iPhone that's going to be coming
I
out?
have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, they lost me after that stand that they were trying to sell for $1,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, after that, I'm like, I gotta find another company. Apple's just getting too expensive now.
So do you think that you'd be switching to a different manufacturer for a phone instead of iPhone?
That's a hard conversation because at the same time, Apple's pretty much taking over my life. I have an Apple Watch. I have an Apple phone. I have an Apple TV. We're recording this on a Mac right now. So it's hard to say. If I could switch over, I definitely would. But that means I would have to switch everything I have.
Well, yes, you are very invested, and that's what Apple wants from you.
Yeah.
So you're more than likely gonna get the new iPhone.
I hope not. Like I was looking at some other phones, like these little off brands, like nothing big, like a Galaxy or
So
Note
you're
or
okay
anything
with
else.
getting something that's maybe not as technologically advanced as an iPhone.
No, there is something that is technologically advanced as an iPhone.
So, and what does it do? Anything more advanced than iPhone's doing?
Yeah, I mean the frame rate is a lot faster on it. Basically, it refreshes at 90 frames a second versus 60. And so, and it's also, I don't know. Let's see, like the iPhone XR is what, $1,200, something like that.
Yeah.
This phone's only like about 600. So it's like half the price. So, and it does pretty much everything that the iPhone does. It's actually, so yeah, it's a pretty interesting to look into.
So then how would you integrate that with all your other Apple devices?
It's hard, and that's the issue. It's because I'm so invested in Apple already. To get something else would mean I have to go ahead and change up everything.
And so I guess we get to, for the people that would not want to do that, like me, I don't think that I would want to switch my phone, even though I would consider it, especially being at a fraction of the cost. But I think I'd lean towards getting a new iPhone.
If I could, I'd make the switch. And I understand, the Androids can do some Apple things and stuff like that. For example, you can have iTunes on them and stuff like that. But in terms of it being able to AirPlay music onto my Apple TV or communicating with the HomePod is a whole another situation. Like I just have to get the Android equivalent.
Yeah, that's why I'd stick with Apple. And I guess what I'm getting at is I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of people that are gonna go ahead and say, "No, I want the new iPhone." They're ready and waiting for this new iPhone to be coming out.
Yeah.
Why do you think that they want this new iPhone?
Because it's what Apple's telling them what they want. Like Apple's like, you need a better battery because your old one's dying, and there was a scandal with that, and that some updates would go ahead and purposely slow down your battery, and they got caught with that. And then the other thing is that this is in every keynote. I'm not sure if you ever seen a keynote or not, like the entire thing, but for the most part, every keynote starts off the same. Oh, this battery is 24% better than the last battery. This is 600 times a better picture than you'd get with the last iPhone and this and that. But a lot of times nothing really changes. Like there's not much change. Like for example, I think their latest one is the XR. And I was watching one of these reviews on it and a couple other things, and people were like, "Oh yeah, it's the best phone, this and that, whatever." Well, I saw another video of a guy taking it apart. He pretty much says it's the same components. They just rebadged an X.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely sticking with the same phone as long as I can because, yeah, I don't see major differences, that's for sure. Even though I would consider a new one at some point when, basically this one would be on its way out and, no longer functioning, and then I'd consider probably getting a new one.
I
But there's a lot of people that are like, they're ready, for that new one still, and they want it to do something. They're wanting to hear something from Apple or from some other manufacturer, even if it is an Android, because there are people who do who are on Android and they have all the components to go with it, and they're on the the opposite end of they also want that new phone.
Yeah,
What do
but
you think they're expecting from this new phone?
I don't think they're expecting anything. I think it's the company just telling them, "Hey, this is what you want," and they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I want." I think because I remember
No, I mean, I believe people do want something. I mean, for at this point, they're not expecting um,
I think when these phones first came out,
much. I don't think they're expecting
we were
much more.
expecting a lot, and we got a lot when they first started coming out.
And that's what I'm saying is that we already have a lot of functionality from these phones. And so the next thing that people would want, they may not even be able to phantom what exactly they
Exactly,
want.
like
But that's what I'm saying. What do you think it is?
what do I think the people want, or what do I
Yes.
think the next big thing is?
What do you think they want in the next big thing?
The
Even though
next,
it may not even be, the keynote could come out and say this and say that. All the advertising could say that it's great in all these ways. But what is it about the desire to want that?
I think people just want it because it's the newest phone. There's one new every year, and they're like, I want this one because it's a new. And I think that's just the thing it is every year. Again, when I first got an iPhone, it was the 5. I got the 5, and that's when I first joined the whole Apple kind of flagship corporation and stuff like that. And then after that, we got the 6, which had, or the 5S, which had Siri, and I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty cool, digital assistant. Then we got the 6, was a whole new look, and then I think we got the phablet, the 6 Plus. Is that when they first started coming out? The phablets,
Yes.
yeah. And I'm like, hell yeah, bigger screen. It's like a miniature iPad or a miniature iPad Mini. And so there was that, and then it was like, okay, well, what's the next big thing? And nothing happened. Nothing happened. Now we're at the 10, and it's like, it's pretty much the same. And I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much with every phone. I think when they first started coming out, two things. One, there was no really mainstream flagship phone. Like you weren't getting the Nokia 1, the Nokia 2, or the little, I don't know, Pager 1, Pager 2, whatever you guys used in the 80s. And then Apple came out and it was like, oh, you can go ahead and text people and talk, and at the same time. And it's like, that's freaking crazy. And then it's like you can also surf the web, and it's like, what the frick? You can do that on a phone now? Like, hell yeah! It's all screen. Hell yeah! And then it just kept getting better and better and better. And then I guess it kind of fell off on the fourth one. I think the fourth one was like, okay, at this point we're just gonna rebadge them. And so people are like complacent. They're like, okay, I understand it's the same thing, but I'm still gonna buy it, even though there's very, very minimal difference between the current model and last year's model.
Yeah, but it's something about that phone that does something for people. I mean, I know for most everybody, it connects them through social network platforms.
Yeah,
And
the
then there's
development of apps was crazy.
GPS, of course. Everybody's using GPS.
Yes.
Emails.
Yes, and those were the first couple of things on the first couple of phones.
Right, and then there's a bunch of other stuff too. That people are utilizing, other kind of networking um, sites and all kinds of other stuff. But yes, I mean the phone is what allows this to happen. I think it's something about it. I mean, now it's starting to control things in your house. You know, um, so even just those capabilities, like even though it's the same phone that the older version may have been, it's definitely uh, integrating a lot more. You're able to control more.
I think the next big thing is full integration.
Full integration to
Everything. Like,
to have your phone controlling everything.
pretty much. I mean, that's it. I mean, at this point, we're basically cyborgs. The only difference right now would be that the phone's not implanted in my arm or something,
And
or
you
it's not
think that
implanted in the back of my head.
that's what you think people would be okay with that?
Hell yeah, I would. That's the future right there. Like, there's a game coming
So
out.
you think that's what people want?
Oh yeah, like there's a game coming out here in the next couple of weeks, which is called Cyberpunk 2077, right? And the whole premise is that it's set in the future, and in the future you have cybernetic abilities, like you have a robotic arm, right? You have a chip in the back of your head. Like this is all stuff um, we've kind of been expecting. You know, this is stuff we want. This is stuff that's like we're we're real close to this stuff becoming reality.
Yeah, I don't know about reality. I don't know about putting an iPhone. I do like an iPhone, and I would like some more capabilities, but I don't know about putting it in my arm.
I would, I would, and then just get instantaneous access to everything.
So ultimately, you think people want control? They want overall control of what this device can do.
We can call it control. I'm going to say that whoever
Automation, or whatever it is.
I wouldn't say it's control for the consumer. I think it's more control for the corporation.
Corporation controlling what?
Yes, controlling what you
Everything?
can and cannot do.
No,
Yes.
I don't think it's the corporation controlling that. I mean, that's technology coming out with something, and if you like it and it's the price is right on, then it's gonna sell.
No, I
But
think it
it's
has
like
to
you
do with
said.
control. Like, for example, Apple Pay doesn't work with every bank. Like, it only works with certain banks. All the big ones, like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, and all
Right.
them, yeah. But, like, little banks, like, for example, here in Pueblo, we have Vector Bank. I don't think it works with them. You go back to San Marcos, and they have A Plus Federal Credit Union. Does
Well,
not
that's
work
a
with them.
credit union, so
Well, any credit
I
union,
mean, those are
pretty
banking
much.
institutions, so
But just the idea of that, hey, if I want Apple Pay, I can't use this bank. I have to use a different bank.
Yeah, I get that, but it's basically because those smaller institutions just can't integrate into these big platforms.
Yes, and so it's kind of driving the market to go with other banks. Like it's almost like you can say whatever you want, but it seems like it's dictating what you can do, almost. Like
it is dictating what can be done, but not necessarily what you can do. It's only what you can do for the moment until other stuff catches up and starts to follow suit. I mean, we could have a whole new bank that comes up that's able to integrate into all these platforms.
I think it should. Again, I'm at that point to where I want my phone to just tell me anything I want to know or anything I need to know instantaneously. Like if I say, or if I even think it, like how much money's in my bank account, a number just pops up in my head, and I just know, and regardless of which bank it is, and it'd be like, well, which bank are you talking about? And it's like, oh, this one right here. And so,
Oh my God, these dogs!
yes, they're horrible. I apologize.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have 3 dogs in here, and they're all trying to play with each other.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. And yeah, I don't know if that's heading in the good direction of trying to find new institutions that could come up out of this and integrate and provide a good service for the consumers, us. or if we're just going to create more conglomerates and it's just going to be the biggest, only the biggest are going to make it.
Yeah, only the biggest are going to make it is what it seems like. Because again, like, they're dictating what we do and what we buy.
Right,
Like,
but I'm saying, like, the biggest only being a few versus the biggest being a few more. More
it's just going to be a
options.
few. Because again, like, when you think of phones, other than Apple and Android, what else is there? Honestly, what else is there? I mean, BlackBerry was a thing for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know. There is just mainly
Ubuntu,
types of phones.
if you've ever heard that one, it's not here in the States.
Everybody should just be on the iPhone already.
We're all integrated.
But what are we asking for by doing that? What are we
Being connected.
Yeah, but it would be where there is no competition. What by saying I wish everybody was on an iPhone right now. That's eliminating all competition. What the
I think
heck
it's
would
that everyone's
what
on
would
the
be
same
the,
network.
What would be the
Like the internet. Like, how
Yeah.
everyone pretty much uses the same kind of internet.
Yeah, but
Everyone
what I'm
pretty much
saying
uses
is,
Google.
what would that do? What would be the fallout in not having any competition?
Oh, the company could do whatever they wanted. I mean, if we didn't keep them held liable,
Yeah.
then they just do whatever they want. I mean, that's essentially where we're going down.
So, do you think that we could advance, in the same sense by having multiple companies instead of having, just two or three or so, few big entities that are.
Yes and no. So, yes, in terms of, having multiple companies and all that, but they don't have to be on the same network. They don't have to use the same components, the base components, and then anything external in terms of how big the phone is, what it looks like, everything else, is irrelevant. But if they have the same processing chip, if they all use the same network, they're all on one grid. Oh yeah, it's just rebadged. Everything's just rebadged. But if they were all individual, let's say you had Verizon, Sprint, so on and so forth, then it'd be really hard to advance this stuff because there's not that much money getting pushed into it. So like consumers, they always want the next and the biggest thing. I always want the latest whatever because it's the current year and it's not last year. So what what you do is basically everyone gets behind one product. That one product goes ahead and makes things new every year because they have the funding for that. They make so much money that they can have a R&D program to go ahead and make something new, something different.
Yeah, I get it. It's just, there's an up and there's a down. You could definitely put more resources into, progressing a lot faster, moving a lot more forward faster. But, without competition, there's really no one kind of thinking outside of what's happening to put a new perspective on things.
If companies actually listen to their employee, like for example, if someone who's big in Apple executive or whatever is actually listening to this, highly doubt, and they're going ahead and they're like, man, we should go ahead and full integrate these phones regardless of what they look like, then yeah, that'd be something. But they're not going to do that. Like, there's going to be an iPhone 20, like I said. It's ridiculous. Until something happens to one of these companies where they go ahead and they break down, or we just stop buying from them, or something unexpected happens, they're just going to keep on doing what they've been doing. There's not going to be really much innovation.
We do have a few companies right now. We don't have just one standard company. How are they not progressing right now?
What do you mean?
I mean, basically, like, they're competing with each other. They're trying to make these phones integrate as much as possible. Like you said, implanted into your arm or something. But that that's, I'm sure, that's probably not something they're thinking of right now. But they're definitely thinking about how to make this phone a better device.
So you're
How
saying
to,
what's the next biggest thing that they're planning?
well, no, I'm saying why isn't it not progressing right now? Because it seems like we're heading in a direction where, in order to progress, it's like we should just become one standard. Right now, we have companies competing to try to integrate these phones, these devices, as much as possible. And essentially what they're going to end up doing is realizing the only way to progress fully, is to just become one standard, to not have any competition.
Yes and no. So yes, in a sense, but that lacks the key word there, diversity. That's the issue. For example, Apple's been, let's take an example, their screen, right? Their screen is some kind of like little flimsy, it's a glass essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Apple Watch I got was one of the first generations, and we got insider's knowledge beforehand from a credible source. We'll call him the Big O. We'll call it, hopefully he knows who he is. But anyways, we'll call him the Big O. So the Big O told us, he told us that Apple went ahead and bought a company that goes ahead and deals in small glass essentially. That's how we kind of knew that the Apple Watch was going to go ahead and come out. And from there, he was telling us other things about what kind of material the glass was made out of. Mm-hmm. And it was made out of sapphire crystal. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, I've had that thing for 5 years,
right?
Something like that.
Scratch resistant.
That glass is phenomenal. Why
Right.
they didn't incorporate it in their phones? Again, the Big O went ahead and said that it was too thick. The glass was too thick. It wouldn't work. But Jesus, that glass lasted 4 years. I wore it every single day, going to the gym, working on cars, putting parts together. And it never scratched, only up until recently, and I've dropped it many times when I'm trying to put it on. Only recently did it go ahead and start messing up on me, but the glass is still fine. It's only the screen that's messing up. And so it's all software related.
Yeah.
But yes, that would be a key point in diversity if they were to take that technology, just kind of run with it. But they didn't, for whatever reason.
Why do you think they didn't do something like that? It just wasn't in their interest to put a glass on the screen?
I think for multiple reasons. One, it's not perfect yet. That little screen was not perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
Second thing is, Apple really likes to refine stuff before they release it out to the public. Mm-hmm. And, so that's kind of...
That glass still needs some work.
Yeah, that glass still needs some work. So let's see. Who knows? Maybe it will come out in the next couple of phone generations, and they'll perfect it, and they'll be like, yeah, here it is. Remember that thing? And it all started, 10 years ago? Mm-hmm. We bought this little company out.
Yeah. Well, if they're thinking about glass and not, thinking about how to put this into your arm.
Yeah.
It comes to I wanna be able to think about it and it'll
just know.
start happening. I just
I
want
mean,
stuff to
Elon Musk said something along the lines of, the biggest issue with today's technology or information is that we do not get enough of it as fast as we should. And so he's making that whatever 1,000-something satellites in the sky, and that way we can go ahead and all get connected instantaneously and a lot faster, get data a lot faster. Because that's our issue.
He wants people to have data faster.
Well, essentially, this dude's ahead of his time. I'm pretty sure he's thinking that if we don't assimilate with the technology right now, if we don't start trying right now, and there's no holds on it, sooner or later, this technology is going to go ahead and take over. Like, it's gonna figure it out. This stuff is not.
So, you want a new iPhone? I want a new iPhone. And we need to figure out how to integrate before it takes over.
Yeah, the iPhone be like, no, you don't need to go to this destination, or you're driving down to your ex's house and your phone's like, nah, dog, nah. You ain't need to be going over there. Let's go somewhere else, and it reroutes you somewhere else.
He says, no, you need to make better decisions.
No, let's
in
go
your
out,
life.
man.
You ain't...
Let's go out. Let's go find something else. Let's go by the Riverwalk.
Oh, man. That is something.
That'd be something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Your phone taking care of you.
Right.
That'd be something.
Man, is that what we're asking for?
Yeah, I think that is because, again, when Siri first came out, it was like,
I mean,
this is kind of dumb. It doesn't do everything, but the idea is pretty cool.
I like, having an alarm, in the house. It's it's not a crazy advanced technology, but it is, a type of technology, having an alarm on the house.
Versus just a deadbolt or something.
Yeah, having control of the thermostat. Being able to control the HomePod and the Apple TV.
Now, what if you imagine this? So you can control stuff. Now imagine that you just got out of work. You go ahead, you get in your car, or you're about to go ahead and get in your car. Your phone already turned on your car for you.
Well, that's
it already
what
has
I'm
the
saying.
AC set.
I mean, you
get in.
What if
the house is already cool?
What if all these automations just become integrated and it is just user settings. It's all your own settings. It sets all your own moods and everything, and gets you right. And it's like you said. Ultimately, it's making these decisions for you. And
I don't know, man. I think it's deeper than that. Like, for example, let's say you're married, you have a wife, and tonight the kids are somewhere else, and you just tell your phone, hey, set the mood for tonight. And it just knows, hey, your wife's been listening to this kind of music and this and that, and so it's like playing smooth jazz that she likes and stuff. And it knows. It knows your partner better than you do. Like, wouldn't that be something?
Oh man, that's a whole nother topic.
It dims the lights.
I don't know if you
just
can't
knows.
say. Oh man, I don't think a computer, an iOS or whatever, an operating system is going to be able to figure that one out.
Not yet, but that's where we're heading to. For example, I think Netflix has a documentary out right now. It's called Cambridge Analytica or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they're talking about Cambridge Analytica, and they're talking about all these data points that are just out there, and that we're just giving these data points away for free.
Right.
And then with these data points, they can determine how to sway our opinion.
Yeah.
Or how to sway the way we think. So why not?
I didn't think about that. Man. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's a deep.
Yeah,
that's real.
That's something to think about,
real
right?
Deep and putting a plan together and how to use those data points and swaying the opinion of everyone.
Exactly. So you like set the mood, and it plays your significant other's playlist that they find intimate and stuff.
Is that what we want?
Yes. That's exactly what we want. Or like if you screw up and you're like, hey Siri, I screwed up bad.
We want this thing to be a smooth operator. This thing, be like, don't worry.
Sorry, I missed that.
See, they're already listening.
Again, please?
They're already listening to us. Telling you, it's gathering data points right now.
Yeah, she never stops.
No,
she never stops.
Always on.
And I don't want her to.
Thing.
I don't want her to, like, when I say, hey Siri, and she doesn't respond.
There she goes.
I don't want her to not respond.
I
would think something was up.
Yeah.
So now, that's what I'm saying. I mean, is that what we want? Is we want something, to secure us, to, make these decisions for us, to ultimately almost even manipulate us into,
yeah, definitely
being
Yeah,
And,
because remember, I'm not sure if you remember, but I grew up in the age of apps. So when apps were first kind of coming around, the first kind of apps were games and stuff like that. Well, then after games, the next kind of app was kind of social media stuff. And then after social media and all this other stuff took off, we were more connected than ever, but we were still lonely. Quote that. Go ahead and quote that. Anyways, so the next set of apps were like apps where you communicated with it. Like I remember one app being popular in middle school. It was something like you sent out a text message, but it was to an AI, and that AI went ahead and communicated back with you. It was very limited. Like you could only ask it certain things, like hey, it would ask you, hey, how's the weather? How's your day? And you'd be like, my day kind of sucked, this and that. And it's like,
It was an
oh
app?
man, yeah, it was an app.
Huh.
It was something like I want to say it was some kind of like little chick, like a little, not chick as in girl, but like chick as in chicken. It was a yellow chick, and then that was the avatar of it. So it seemed friendly, and it's like, yeah, it's a little chick, it can't harm me or anything like that. And it'd ask you about your day, and then you'd tell it about your day, and it actually kind of sort of felt bad for you, but at the same time, it wasn't perfect because you could curse at it, and it'd be like, hey, that's not nice.
So you think that they're making a technology that would bring people together?
I wouldn't say bring people together. I would say it'd be the ultimate wingman. Or
I don't know,
wingwoman.
man. I almost feel like it would optimize situations for you to be alone.
Well, yes and no. Again,
Because I feel like, I mean, I guess there's people that, when you're alone, you're in one, mood, and when you're
with company, it's a whole different kind. You have to be a little
exactly.
bit more cheerful and a little
Right,
bit more
or
talkative.
even if you're, let's say you're with somebody, someone you're into.
You have to act cool and all that. You can't be acting all
Right,
like a
you
dork
would,
and stuff.
Yeah, you'd
You
have
can't
to
slip up.
So it would be like, is this thing at that point in manipulation mode where it's, trying to give you that edge, or is this,
It's the ultimate wingman.
and that's
Like
that's
it's
what
like a
we would
person,
want. Or
It's like,
would it it would just be like, no, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, what are you doing?
like this is
Like,
not you. Like
this
why
is
are
not
you
you.
acting weird? Like no one walks like that. I can tell how you're walking. I have a gyro in my sensors. Stop.
You know
Stop
what I'm
it.
saying? Like, what I mean, because AI, ultimately this AI, if it becomes that intelligent like we want, where this stuff is being able to, have all kinds of data running through that where it knows what we want just by thinking it. Do you think it would, be making its decisions more on that rationale of like, what are you doing?
I think the problem with
What
AI
are
is
you
that
doing?
they're not irrational like people. So it whatever your goal would be, it would make the most logical decisions to
And what if it just knew, like, give it up?
like it'd make the most logical decisions to go ahead and
Oh,
do whatever
man.
it is
So
you're trying to do.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if the technology can't figure that out, how to make it work, then it would just be like, just be by yourself. I can make you, feel all great, all
Yeah.
on your own.
And then you go get your sex robot and it's like, look, I'll be the sex robot. You do your thing.
Oh man, I
I've
don't
already
want.
scanned-
I don't want. Okay, I can't agree with it. I don't even know if I want the newest iPhone anymore.
Your iPhone just plugs right into the sex robot.
Oh,
Still
my
has the
God.
same charging port. Don't ask where it's located. Just know that it's the
Wow.
same charging port in the back of the head.
Oh my God.
And it's like, I've downloaded 20,000 porn videos, and I know that you watched recently,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
know exactly what you're
yeah.
into. So
Well, Yeah, so I guess ultimately that's what people would be, you know, you got to think about that, people. When you're asking for an iPhone, what do you really, the newest iPhone,
You want a sex
you want
robot or you want a wingman?
well, not just iPhone, this new technology, you want this, that, whatever, that's new and integrated and can give you instant reactions or whatever.
Yeah, like
You
for
say something
example,
and it's just playing it, and it's just,
the
you
latest
know.
thing in, because we just talked about the sex robots. The latest thing in sex technology is I was watching something with 2 Chains, and he was on Vice, and they're showing this. It's basically a fleshlight, and if you ever seen a
Yeah, I don't
fleshlight,
want to
yeah.
get into all that
Anyways,
crazy stuff.
point being is that it actually connects the two people together.
Yeah, I don't know about all that
So
craziness.
that's the technology people want apparently.
It's some kind of technology that will connect
Yeah.
people together. Yeah. Well, I don't know if they'll figure that out, but what I'm saying is, going on this path, you need to think about what exactly it is that you're asking for by wanting this new technology, because ultimately, it may not be what you want. It may not be, you may not want full integration. You may not want this thing knowing your every move and possibly even manipulating you into thinking, you know what you want for yourself, and starting to take over your decisions and making your decisions for you.
I don't know. It's hard to say. But
It's
what if it
hard to
encouraged
say,
my
but it's
decisions?
something to think about. It's definitely something to think about, and that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
people need to go ahead and consider that when you are thinking of all this integration that's going on.
I don't know. I'd want something to encourage my bad decisions,
Mm,
so that way they're justified.
yeah,
It's like,
you
yeah,
would. Yeah.
make that impulse buy. Buy that off of
Alrighty.
Amazon.
Alrighty then, man. We're gonna go ahead and end this one like that.
All right. Till next time.